Welcome to another show of Market Wizards, Option Market Wizards. And today I have my guest, Chester. Chester joining from Singapore. And it's a pleasure to introduce Chester to all of you, to get to know Chester and what kind of strategies. And he will open up what he trades, how he trades, and hopefully you can pick up some wonderful nuggets from this conversation. So, Chester, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Manoj, for inviting me. Very honored and happy to share. Um, and yeah, let's go ahead. It's a interesting journey and first time I'm sharing. So under your guidance, so let's do it.
I'm so excited to have you as well, Chester. I'm very proud of you. Chester, would you take a minute to, explain to my viewers where are you from, what do you do, and what get you started in options trading?
Okay. As your first introduction, I live in Singapore. I'm doing insurance for many years, more than 20 over years, doing corporate insurance, life insurance. Um, Approximately in early 2000, it occurred to me that I need to have multiple sources of income. So while I still today enjoy very much what I do professionally, I started to look at alternative possibilities to increase other sources of income. I started to look at investment, went through some courses in the early days, um, but I didn't really start options until somewhere in 2008.
Okay.
And in 2008, all the way to for the next 10 years, I guess, I do a little bit here, a little bit there, experimenting with different strategy, common strategy,
Yeah.
buy, call, buy, put, sell, call, sell, put, whatever it is, combination of them. Little bit of money here and there, but nothing to shout about, nothing to be too exciting about. But I have never give up. I continue to learn. And then somewhere in 2017, I think, approximately 10 years after I started left, right, and center, I come to know your course.
Mm.
And then I participated. In your first course, PPI, Profit Path Intensive. And then I participated in your condo. And from there, we learn and it's becoming more interesting. And then finally, middle of last year in May, um, I took a big jump. I participated in your inner circle, and that is certainly a great investment for me. Yeah, because that bring my trading up to a level which I have never been able to even imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember in this journey, I think your wife also learned the options trading program and your son also joined options program with Option Pundit. Is that correct? Right?
Yes, correct. Actually, my son Jonathan joined you first,
Yeah.
and then he is the one that introduced you to me.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. Okay.
uh, I think he joined probably 6 months before me,
Okay.
and then when I joined, I decided to call my wife along. So yeah, we both attended your course together. Yes.
Wow, what an opportunity for me as well. I feel privileged at the same time to have all of you gone through the program. And as you mentioned that, for 10 years you tried to do it, but it wasn't until I would say 2017 and 18, and then you got into the Inner Circle Mastermind last year. So it's been about 10 months that you have been into the Inner Circle Mastermind group, right?
Yes.
So one question that comes to every trader's mind is, first question is, are you profitable?
Yes.
In last 10 months of, if I really look at it, if I were to ask it, how much is your profit?
My profit is more than 5 times your fee.
More than five times my
Somewhere,
fee? Okay.
somewhere, Somewhere near 150,000. Yeah.
Somewhere around
For the last
150,000,
10 months. Yeah.
150,000 US dollar in 10 months.
Yes, approximately.
Now,
Yeah.
approximately. So now those who are watching this show, also have to say this. I mean, it's not that just 10 months that you generated $150,000. It's also the preparation, it's also the learning and experiences that have gone through. And then the direct mentorship where, suddenly the game changed. And then the results were obvious during that time. So please don't take this from this interview that, you just join any program and within 10 months, you should be able to generate that kind of profit. I mean, it may happen. I'm not saying that cannot happen, but usually it's a slightly longer journey as you have to prove it to yourself and to show those consistent results in your portfolio. So from that, I would like to know, Chester, what worked for you and what did not work for you in this journey of, achieving this phenomenal results.
Okay. Because I am still working every day and I work relatively long hours still intensively. The trading, I want to put in quality time, but I cannot be looking at the screen all day. And so through the various courses and certainly in the inner circle, we learn from you, Coach Manoj, a super coach, that there are many possibilities, many strategies, many methods. Obviously, common like your teaching, PP33, MRB, L2R, flying condor, etc. L2R. They are all interesting and potentially profitable strategy. But I firmly believe that every trader will develop some strategy to match their own personality, to match their own time frame. I a firm believer that the strategy reflects our own thinking pattern, our own character.
Yeah.
And so, although every method can create interesting profit, I don't apply every strategy. I choose the strategy that suits my personality, suits my time.
Yeah.
Especially, I cannot be staring at the screen all day. I only want to trade, let's say, on average, 2 hours a day. And so, out of various strategies which I have tried, I must say, I love first and foremost the flying condor strategy.
Flying condor strategy, yeah.
Yeah, and secondly, the L2R, the lease to rent strategy is highly interesting. That is very new to me.
Yeah.
And still experimenting, still fine tuning, but I can see the potential and it suits my personality. Yeah.
So out of this $150,000 profit US, if you look at it, what percentage will contribute to flying condor? What percentage to L2R roughly?
At this moment, because first few months after I joined in middle of May,
yeah,
I'm learning relearning different strategies.
Yeah.
Trying to put in place the fine details of a different strategy. And only in September that due to a very casual conversation with you, super coach, that just one sentence created a spark in my mind that the flying condor works. So in September, I started to put in practice last year, September 2020. I see some result in September to October cycle.
Yeah.
So in November, I scale up. So November, December is a good result. January is a very strange situation because my Think or Swim account was locked for half a month. and due to some paperwork issue, I really surprised. And because of the locking of my account, I cannot move, I cannot adjust, I cannot do anything. that resulted in some losses. But okay, I mean, it's a learning experience that the account can be locked for strange reason, and then we recover in February and March.
February, yeah. So I can say that safely that flying condors and L2Rs are something that are suited to your style, where you spend less amount of time and you can still do your full-time work that you look after every day, and then spend just a couple of hours on your trading while trading these two strategy. So could you give us a little bit of insight? How do you build a flying condor? How do you look at that? How do you choose the underlying? Give us some idea, insights for the viewers who are watching this. Um, Maybe like the top lines. How do you build a flying condor, or what is a flying condor?
Okay, a flying condor is for people who have a little bit of knowledge, a combination of butterfly and the iron condor. We started a position similar, not exactly the same, but similar to a butterfly. And then we adjust it towards the end to become an iron condor. Flying condor come from you actually, Coach Manoj. That's a new name created. But okay, we understand what it means for the inner circle people, for whoever watching this interview. So we started like a butterfly, and then we adjust it accordingly. I trade the underlying basically SPX,
SPX.
the oblique GC, which is the gold futures. I tried a little bit on the QQQ and SPY. It is workable, but not efficient. So I don't do the QQQ and SPY anymore for this flying condor.
And why is SPY and QQQ not efficient?
Not efficient in the sense that the deployed capital versus potential reward is not in the right ratio for me. Talking about reward to risk ratio, it only happened to me a few hours ago today. During lunchtime, I'm just thinking about it, meditating, and from my conversation with my other family members, approximately, I would say 1 month ago, sometimes it just sticks. How should I say? Okay, reward versus risk ratio is important because at this moment, I only trade reward to risk ratio somewhere 1 to 4 and not any higher. Okay, so what does it mean? Or in fact, it varies from 1 to 1, 1 to 1 to 1, 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4. 1 to 4 will be the maximum I would go in for the opening of the position. What it means is that, for example, in the flying condor, the end result should be a $5 profit over a $25 gap. If I can get a $5 profit over a $25 gap, that is to me 1 to 4 ratio.
Yeah.
And if we can, 1 to 4 ratio is like 25% gross profit. But taking away all the costs of trading, maybe 20%. But if we can repeat that 3 to 4 times per month, that is going to be very exciting.
Yeah.
So when I said QQQ, SPY not efficient, basically after a few try, it doesn't come into the 1 to 4 ratio. And then my thinking is, why do I want to deploy capital in a less efficient platform or underlying against a more efficient one?
Yeah. And another reason, partly for the viewers who are watching, is also the cost of commission. If SPX, you look at it, you do 1 contract on SPX, but if you do that on SPY, you're going to need about 10 contracts for this deployment of the same capital. So depending upon your portfolio size, you may choose. SPY may be good for a smaller capital portfolio to try it out and then see how it works. But sooner or later, you will have to advance using SPX as a main condor vehicle. And the risk to reward and the gap that Chester is mentioning, basically he's referring to the spread between your short strike and the long strike. So the short strike and long strike is about 25 points away, which means that your risk will be $2,500, but you're collecting $5 as a credit, which means that your maximum loss is $20 and the maximum reward is $5. So if you look at it, $5 rewards over $20 rewards, that comes out to be 25% returns. That's what Chester is mentioning. So I hope you're taking a paper and pen and you're watching this and you're taking the notes as well as we go through. So in case if you have any questions, feel free to ask those questions as well below this video. So let's continue, Chester. You talked about the flying condor and how you begin it in the shape of like a butterfly. And then finally we convert into a iron condor, and you're looking for the maximum is 1:4 reward to risk ratio to keep this as a good trade. Any other insights that you would like to share about this flying condor that you've been working on?
Okay, because you have introduced very often pivots.
Yeah.
I hear your teaching on pivots for 9 months. Until 9 months later, after listening, then I suddenly realized what you're talking about. Seriously, I mean, sometimes we hear, but we don't digest. So hearing and digesting and being able to apply, to me is different. Maybe I'm a slow learner, I don't know. But what happened is you talk constantly about pivot, and I hear it so many times, and nothing happened, basically. Until about last month, it suddenly occurred to me that we can use pivot, incorporate the pivot into the flying condor. And therefore, my opening up of the flying condor between the put side and the call side, I now take into serious consideration the pivot points. And that has certainly increased the profitability and the success rate of the flying condor.
Well, that's really awesome. So how do you incorporate pivots into your condors now?
Okay, pivots, I don't, because I don't, it's not my character to trade the daily trade, although it's interesting. I like to trade the weekly trade and the monthly trade. So I will look at the pivot in the weekly pivot, like SPX. I can look at the pivot points for the weekly, and I can look at the pivot points for the monthly. And then when the flying condor was being set up, and the stock price or the index start to move, how do I open up? How do I open up to have a goal post that the ball is going to go in towards the end? And that opening up of the goal post, if I open too narrow, then it can overshoot. And then it can become last minute losses. If I open too wide, then the profitability drastically reduced. So what is the optimum? The optimum, I'm still trying to adjust because, but certainly the pivot incorporating into the flying condor helps a lot.
I think you got it. You got it, Chester. So it's not slow or fast. You are my market wizard, man. You're in this interview. You're going through it. You've generated 6 figures profit, $150,000 in 10 months. So slow or fast doesn't matter as long as you are making a progress. And guess what? I mean, it's a real capital. Just because if we speed up and we lose capital, that will be pretty insane. I would rather be slow and make money slowly but consistently and grow my portfolio, over a period of time. So if you incorporate pivots, yes, you can, build your flying condors, in fact, get more credit and also be opportunistic. For example, you can open the bull put spreads when you are looking at support pivots, and you can open a bear call spreads when you're looking for, the resistance pivots. And this way, you can maximize your profit opportunity as well. And in fact, those who are watching this interview or this show, you can also use pivots for your intraday trading or for your daily trading as well. It can be an incredible system. But if you are trading something intraday, meaning you need to make decisions very quickly, you need to decide, whether you're going to cut or you're going to repair or adjust, and do that very, very quickly. So make sure that you know the nature of the trade you are taking, make sure that the context that you are taking the trade, and also be aware of any major news or any major flow that might actually come and affect your trade. So the insights that Chester just shared around the pivots and how you can build your condo around pivots can be very, very powerful if you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't understand, then I suggest that you read a little bit more about pivots, read a little bit more about condos, read through some of the articles we have on Option Pundit blog. It will definitely, help you to make at least a generic idea what are the traits and strategy we are talking about. So Chester, in this journey, condos work for you, flying condos work for you, L2R works for you. How about things that did not work for you? What are those things that did not work for you? It may be strategy, it may be allocation, it may be not paying attention, could be anything. So what are the things that did not work for you, that you could share with my viewers?
Okay, before we go into the not so successful strategy, I think my thinking is constant learning is very
Constant
important.
learning. Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like reading a book. I mean, I can read a book one time and then read the book second time, then some new things appear, which is always there in front of me, the pages, but reading one time may not digest. So listening to you one time, two times, three times helps a lot, at least for me. So 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 also I think is after listening a few times, testing a little bit, always experiment, because different strategy work for different people. What it works for me may not work for others. So, for example, MRB. MRB is very interesting. As you probably aware, in the initial period, I follow MRB, and one of the so-called high winning strategy. But after a while, I feel that it is somewhat more volatile and time sensitive. So because I prefer less time sensitive strategy, I then see whether I can incorporate L2R into the MRB strategy. Right? So instead of doing a MRB when the certain graph pattern appear, I can do the L2R at that time as well. Depends. I haven't really compared which is more profitable, but L2R is interesting for me. It suits my personality, I think. And then after that, that's how I start to do a little bit more. Plus, of course, your encouragement, because you told everybody that L2R can be very profitable. And indeed, in the few months that I've done L2R, they are profitable. But I think it's just myself in my experiment with L2R. I start to modify the curve. I shifted the curve left and right to see what happened. In the first few months, as I shifted the curve, that it became looking similar to a bull put spread. It looks like a bull put spread. It can be adjusted to look like
correct.
I mean, yes, you taught us like a tent, right? It's a tent like a risk graph. Where there's a high point in the center and sloping down on both sides. Looks like a tent to me. But that tent can be shifted left and right to become a one-sided risk graph.
Mm.
And then say from November 2020 to maybe February 2021,
Yeah.
the stock market is moving more or less going up all the time, more or
Yeah.
less. And so instead of the 10 like risk graph, I shifted to like a bull put spread risk graph.
Yeah.
And that works well until early March when there's some correction. So when there's some correction, then I realized that the negative side can create
Yeah.
unexpected losses.
Right. Right.
Um,
Right.
Still within my tolerance, but
Mm.
anyhow, nothing exciting because it's a negative
Yeah.
outcome.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is that learning, adjusting. So now I see that there are advantages in the original risk graph. Um, there are possibility of other adjustment,
Yeah.
and I am adjusting at this moment. Um, I still haven't come out to my own preferred
Yeah.
method, but I can see now why when you taught us the beginning of your strategy or the L2R is a 10 like risk
Yeah.
graph,
Yeah.
because then it protects both sides.
Both sides. Yeah. Correct.
Um,
And again, it's the journey. We go through different phases of market. We find we need to have all the tools in our toolbox. A strategy which works if the markets are not moving, a strategy which works when the markets are moving, strategies that we can apply on the stocks, which provides us great opportunity. I mean, MRB has been really wonderful for others, but it just did not work for you because your approach or your style is different. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, as you said, one needs to figure out what system or what strategy suits to their lifestyle and their skill level. And I'm glad that you find out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Now, Chester, in this journey, as you mentioned about learning and you talked about the importance of uh, digesting and making sure things going on, what do you think is the importance of financial education? What are your perspective about it? And how's your experience been with Option Pundit in with regards to that?
okay, nothing beats learning. If every stage of learning, different, I have gone through different courses conducted by different people. I must say that each courses that I attended, um, certainly for me myself, I would understand more.
Mm,
And sometimes it is able to combine different teaching,
yeah,
and then apply it in a way that suits myself.
yeah,
So learning is to me very important. Uh, there is nothing wasted, so called. Every every learning, I learn something new.
yeah,
Um, I learned from, for example, another course I attended, talking about how to buy a call. Very interesting for the strategy. I
mm,
applied a few times how to buy call. Um, I don't practice now, but it is still at the back of my mind that I
mm,
can do that if I for one day I feel like buying call, then I will not buy a straight call. It can be interesting.
yeah,
Also different, but of course, I would say that each trader, after learning whatever strategy, at the end, very important, must fit his or her own trading style.
that's absolutely true.
I always believe that
Yeah.
the trading style is very difficult to duplicate. And yeah, that's so I see different people. Everybody can make money, but different methods suits different people.
And how's your experience been at Option Pundit?
Great, because you teach without reservation. I think that is truly from my heart. that you don't keep strategy, or at least I haven't discovered that. You teach everything you know. And between 2017, when I first started knowing you, and now, I must say that as you, maybe hopefully you allow me to say that as you
Yeah, go ahead.
improve yourself, your skill level has certainly sharpened and become more formidable through the last few years. And so your teaching is also up in your skill. So you teach better, um, we can absorb better, um, and fantastic. I really enjoy learning from you. No regrets, because whatever tuition I pay you, I make back.
Times of it. Okay, now let's move a conversation a little bit about um, what do you think are the key traits or key um, characteristics required in order to be successful in trading? You have
Okay.
10 or 10 plus years of experience, like almost 13, 14 years of trading experience. So if there are viewers who are just new to trading, what would you tell them? What are the key things required for them to be successful?
Okay. I think all traders sooner or later will experience some money losing event. No matter how, so for me, yeah, of course, the whole journey um, is 90% good, but the 10% that is not good can wipe out the 90% good. So, in March last year, the oil price go to near zero, or a few minute negative.
Yeah, very well
Uh,
remember that.
and then in Singapore, the big trading company Hin Leong has gone bust, lost 600 over million. Me too. I lost a lot of money in oil during that March event. Um, it wipes out 10 years of profit.
Wow.
But the issue I want to explain is that every time there's a negative, it's a learning process. Don't give up. And that's where I think the last 10 months, or suddenly is a spark in my mind this lunchtime today. The reward to risk ratio is very important.
Yeah.
Because let's say if the reward to risk ratio is 1 to 4, and if there is a bad trade, it takes 4 times just to recover. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Right? And if the reward ratio is 1 to 1, then it takes another good trade to recover. So
Yeah.
the reward to risk ratio can be very important in overcoming a negative experience.
Yeah.
So now I know why like in the opening, you say my whole family is trading, but we all trade differently.
Yeah.
They deploy different method.
Yeah.
We hardly communicate on the specific of the trade, because different people do at different time, and different personality do different things.
Yeah.
So, but recently, like 1 month ago, my daughter told me her trade, she don't go in any trade less than more than 1 to 3 ratio. That means her reward to risk maximum 1 to 3.
Okay.
That was about 1+ month ago. Just a very casual conversation.
Okay.
It didn't occur to me at that time it's very important, but today lunchtime it suddenly occurred to me that is super important. I may be practicing it, but without knowing the theory behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if it is 1 to 3 ratio, okay, once in a blue moon, there will be some bad event that
Yeah.
have a negative outcome.
Yeah.
But if it's 1 to 3 or 1 to 4, or even in the best case 1 to 1 ratio,
Yeah.
then it takes a few trades to recover. It's okay.
Right.
So my issue is learn as much as we can. Casual conversation can create very interesting insight.
Yeah.
Um, and then just keep on learning, keep on doing, don't give up,
Yeah.
because um, it is a exciting and profitable journey. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those who are watching, I think these three are really important point that you're looking at the learning, continuous learning, so you can keep on sharpening your craft, and at the same time looking at the reward to risk ratios and being part of community for casual conversation so that you can have ideas that helps you to progress further. And if I can add one more thing, which is about allocation. So if you allocate too much money, if you do not properly follow guidelines for money allocation, then even that one bad trade can actually wipe you out completely. So if you have a trade, anything that loses entire capital, so anything times zero is zero. So you want to make sure that you allocate it in such a way that you can survive to trade for another day as well. And that's really, really crucial when you're looking at your reward to risk ratios. So those are excellent points, Chester. And for my new viewers who are watching it, they've learned a couple of concepts to think about. PVs, think about flying condos, thinking about how to use the L2Rs as well, and what are the things they need to keep in mind as they are continuously sharpening their craft. Any other message that you would like to share, Chester? Especially, you have seen the crude oil crash, you have seen the COVID-19 crash as well, and in last 10 years you have seen bull runs as well as bear market runs as well. What are some of your key takeaways that will be like golden nuggets for new viewers, especially those who started after 2020, who have never seen a market crash?
Um, every crash will always recover, so don't need to worry too much about the crash. And money allocation means that even if for some reason the outcome is negative, there must be enough capital for recovery.
Yeah.
Please don't trade until your pants drop.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, Make sure that whatever capital that is being used or deployed for trading is not everything that we have, so
Yeah.
that there is a chance to recover just in case things go
Correct.
wrong. Within the trading account, it is also good not to deploy everything in one trade. Some diversification is always recommended. Um, Even though we talk now about flying condor, L2R. Generally speaking, for example, I do the flying condor on indexes. I
Hmm.
probably will try NDX soon. But then the L2R is deployed onto individual stocks.
Yeah.
And so that we have a balance somewhere. For me, the individual stocks, there are so many stocks to choose from. Every time you do a scan with your help, uh, most of the days you can see 10 or more scans that appear.
Yeah.
But I don't choose all 10 because it's
Correct.
crazy. I cannot monitor anymore.
Yeah.
So I tend to choose only stocks that I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
um, there are more than enough strategy, more than enough stocks to choose from. So don't have to worry about missing opportunity, left, right, and center, everything.
So,
Uh,
Chester, in terms of looking at the opportunities and deploying the cash, what percentage of your portfolio keep in cash, and what percentage do you deploy for trading opportunities?
okay, because of the flying condor concept, when I open, the reward to risk can be 1 to 1. For example, when I open the flying condor, I must make sure that I have enough capital when I open up to become
A condo.
1:4 or whatever ratio
Yeah,
it may
correct.
be. So, and then I will have, how do I say, somewhat safe position. When I say safe position means that they are not 100% cash, but can be gold like GLD.
Yeah.
I have some silver as well. So anyway, these are the positions that they do fluctuate, by the way. But in case of any need for cash
You
or
can.
margin, I can release them
Yeah.
to tie me over. Um, Flying condor adjustment from 1:1 to become 1:4 or somewhere in between can be only a few days. So it is okay. So approximately half my portfolio is in stocks.
Yeah.
Approximately half are in all these strategy indexes.
Okay.
Like I say, in the worst case, I can sell stocks, sell gold to get some cash out. Um,
So are you fully invested or you keep like 10%, 20%, 30% in cash?
it varies. It varies. It can be anywhere between 50% cash, 50,
Yeah.
to as low as 5%.
Okay.
But I would say a comfortable position will be somewhere 10 to 20%, 10 to 25% cash position will be comfortable.
Yeah. And for those who are watching, I mean, the strategies that Chester is using are capital intensive as well. So you can scale up your portfolio. But even on a single contract, if you're doing it, you can do it for $1,000 or even $100 on SPY. But the way he has chosen about 25 points, meaning in the final stage when he's looking for 1:4 kind of reward to risk at that point of time, each contract will be worth like almost $2,500. So you have to make sure that the capital is available if you were to make those adjustments. And I think this was also one of the great conversations which we had when you were transforming your strategies and your trades from flying condos to the condos, then how much contract you should convert, how much loss you should book, and etc. And I still remember that private coaching session that worked out to be one of the defining moment in your tradings. Yeah. Okay, so we are coming towards the end. Any other things that you would like to share, Chester, with the viewers?
Um, Not at the moment. I'm still continue to learn, and it's always a pleasure for me. Learning is interesting. The process of learning itself is interesting
Yeah.
because I discover new things. I discover um, some new parts of myself,
Yeah.
and also being able to how do I call enhance my own confidence. Like Iron Condor, I learned Iron Condor 10 years ago,
Yeah.
easily 10 years, maybe more. But until and unless I continue to learn, is the fine point of Iron Condor that makes a difference.
Yeah.
I think 9 out of 10 traders can do Iron Condor, but potentially I suspect, I have no statistics, but I suspect probably only 1 out of 10 can make money consistently. So yeah, so continue to learn, continue to explore is what I would encourage every trader, and find the method that suits your own style. Like I find my certain thing that suits myself, and that will enhance the journey of every trader, I believe.
Well, thank you for being on the show, Chester. It was my pleasure and my honor to have you here. And once again, thank you so much also for sharing what you do, how you do with my viewers, and being absolutely open about it. Thank you once again, Chester.
Okay, thanks very much, and see you soon.
For those who are watching, there was Chester who had generated 150,000 US dollar in less than 10 months. since he has been part of OP Inner Circle Mastermind Group. So that just tells you that it's possible, it's doable. If you are committed, if you're passionate, if you are going after your learning and making sure that you follow through the process completely. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to write that into the comment box, and Chester or myself will be more than happy to answer your questions that you have. And if you have any other ideas, or if you would like to know more about any particular topic, please feel free to write that as well in the comment box, and we will be more than happy to come back and share that with you. For the moment, this is Manoj. I wish you all the very best. Stay safe, stay healthy. See you soon in the next episode.